Welcome to another Holistic Living broadcast. Tonight we are going to do a very basic, quick and easy dessert. Basic vegan vanilla cupcakes. So let's get started. For the ingredients, you will need 1 1/4 cups of whole wheat pastry flour, 1 cup of almond milk, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder. I use an aluminum-free brand, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of butter. I use Earth Balance vegan butter, of course, or you can use 1/3 cup of canola oil. Also, 1/4 cup of sugar, vegan sugar preferably, or your favorite dry sweetener, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. All right, let's get rolling. Now, first of all, you're going to take your cup of almond milk and your teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and you're going to let it sit and curdle. It's going to be like a buttermilk. And I've already started this process, so this is how it should look after about 5 minutes. And to that, I'm going to take my wet ingredients, my 2 teaspoons of vanilla, now to our vegan buttermilk, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1/3 cup of canola oil, or you can use margarine. I'm going to use oil because it goes much quicker than melting the butter. Now to my dry ingredients, I'm going to take my flour, which I already have in the bowl, and I'm going to add to it the 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Make sure your measurements are precise as possible because it can make a difference in the success of your cupcakes. Now I'm going to take my 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder and add to this mixture. You know, I don't like using the exact measurements, but I have to go by the rules and stuff like this. That's why you see me up here fumbling. Okay, 3/4 teaspoons. Now I'm going to take my 1/4 cup of salt. Now I'm going to gently stir this in, just gently. And then to this I will add 1/4 cup of vegan sugar or dry sweetener. Keep gently stirring. Now, dump your wet ingredients in the dry ingredients. Also, make sure that your oven is preheated to 350 degrees for about 10 minutes before you start your baking. Because with this baking powder, this mixture is going to cook very quickly once you start mixing everything together. And yes, I did say cook. And it does make a difference in the success of your cupcakes. So make sure it's preheated. Now I'm going to fill my cupcake pans up about halfway. Also, another trick you can do to fill it up without making a mess, you can put it in a tablespoon or an ice cream scooper, and it makes it go much neater. Takes a little more time though, but it gets it neater. You want about this much? Now I'm going to take the cupcakes and put them in the oven for about 20 minutes. Also pertaining to your cupcakes, let me add a very important tip. If you're using 2 different baking pans to bake your cupcakes in, make sure that they're already filled before you put them in the oven. If you put one in and then you put another one in about 5 minutes later, it could mess up your cupcakes. Because if you open the oven as soon as you put the cupcakes in to peek in or do whatever, you can mess up the rise of the cake. So make sure everything is in the pan, in both pans, and put them in at the same time. Now, let's get started on the icing. Now, I know a lot of my subscribers always say, you never put the recipe for icing. Well, I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to also show you some quick, basic decorating tips. Now, you can use a mixer or food processor to process the icing, but I'm using a food processor tonight. You will need 1/2 cup of Earth Balance vegan butter or your favorite non-dairy margarine. 2 1/2 cups of powdered sugar. I use this kind because it is vegan friendly. Now, optional, you can use 2 tablespoons of soy milk, but you may not need that much depending on what type of consistency you want for your cupcakes. And also 1 teaspoon of almond extract. One more optional thing for creamier consistency, you can use Spectrum Organic Vegetable Shortening. And this is vegan friendly, once again. Or you can use Tofutti cream cheese to kind of play around with a creamy consistency. Now, once again, let me add that these 2 ingredients are optional. Now, if your icing is too thick, this is when you want to add the almond milk. I'm trying to get out of using too many soy ingredients. So I had a subscriber write me an email about gluten-free products and about wheat being a genetically modified ingredient, but wheat is still a vice of mine, and I am working on that, and I do plan to do some gluten-free videos, so just stay patient with that. I mean, we're still working with soy a little bit, but not as much, so be patient. I'm going to kind of up the ante on the healthier ingredients, okay? But tonight we're going to do some, some vegan junk food. Now, you're going to take your margarine and you're going to add it to your processor or mixer. And now I'm going to scoop about 2 tablespoons of this Tofutti cream cheese. Also, let me add, if you notice, my margarine is a little melted, but you want it kind of stiff. It makes the difference in the icing. Fingers are clean. Okay. Now I'm going to get my sugar. 2 1/2 cups. Maybe I haven't done any icing on video as far as mixing, because icing is a tricky thing. You can either get it right or wrong. You can get it too thick or too thin. So you have to know exactly what kind of icing you're messing with. And on camera, I just don't like fumbling around like that. I just kind of like to just get to the point as much as possible. But tonight you're going to see me fumble around a little bit, because this icing may not be exactly the way I want it. And let me note to you, make the icing the way you want to. If it's, you just keep mixing it until it's the proper consistency. If it's too thick, add a little more soy milk. If it's too thin, add a little more powdered sugar, okay? And also another trick is, if you run out of powdered sugar, you can use a little cornstarch. Now I'm going to add my teaspoon of almond extract. Let me show you what kind I use too, because this is vegan friendly and organic. Frontier is the brand, and it is alcohol free. Let me see if I got everything in. Alright, now once again, I'm not going to put this in until I see the consistency of my icing, so let's get rolling with mixing this. You want to keep mixing the icing until it's finely blended and you can't see any more chunks of powdered sugar. So just keep going. Look at that. I didn't even need the soy milk. Okay, so if you follow this recipe the way I did it, then you won't need the soy milk, especially if you add this cream cheese. Now this cream cheese may be hard for you to find because some stores do not carry it. I know Whole Foods does. And if you have a grocery store in your area that has a healthy section, then you may be able to find this in the refrigerated area where you find soy milk. So if you use the cream cheese, keep in mind you may not need the almond milk sweetener. I know I keep calling it soy milk. Now while we wait for the cupcakes to finish, I'm going to show you a few tricks I use to decorate my icing.